Okay, example 2 is on page 73. This should be a quicker video. Andrea is a street artist in New Orleans. She draws caricatures, I can't say that word, never have been, cartoon-like portraits of tourists. People have their portrait drawn and then come back later to pick it up from her. A lot of those in like Santa Cruz on the boardwalk if you've been there. The graph below shows the relationship between the number of portraits she draws and the amount of time and hours she needs to draw the portraits. Ta-da! You should notice right away that it is proportional, right? Because it is a straight line that goes through the origin or has a starting point at the origin, even though it's a little fuzzy on the copy. Okay, so it asks you to write several ordered pairs from the graph and explain what each ordered pair means in the context of this graph. So ordered pair meaning this is X and this is Y, right? If we're looking at this coordinate plane, oh my goodness, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have put my hand there. Okay, there we go. Not sure why it keeps doing that today. Okay, so several ordered pairs. I'm just gonna start to recognize some, and it's very helpful if you find like an intersection, right? Because I don't know what that is. I would be guessing like it's gonna have a decimal in it, but if you find a line, the points that the line goes through an intersection, like right here would be a good point. So I'm gonna start writing these points that I identify. So I identified 4, 6, which means that it would mean that for 4 hours, or that in 4 hours, which is time spent, 6 portraits can be drawn, or she can draw 6 portraits. I also identified 2, 3. So that would be in 2 hours she can draw 3 portraits. Oops, I forgot my repeats. And then, let's see, what else is there? I see 6 and 9. In 6 hours, she can draw 9 portraits. And this looks like it's 1 1/2, just to take note. But I don't know for sure. I'm sure I can figure it out. Okay, but let's go on to the next one, which is B. Write several equations that would relate the number of portraits drawn to the time spent on the portraits. So this is perfect because it kind of leads to what I was saying up there. If I have like the number of portraits, is going to equal number of portraits drawn is going to equal some number, right, times the time spent drawing. I know this is not an equation yet, but I want you to see it before I start writing equations. So if you say y, because that's the number of portraits drawn, y equals some number times x, and you start to fill it in with the constant of proportionality, would be y divided by x, right? So if you look at all of these and you look for y divided by x, you could say 6 divided by 4, or y equals 3 divided by 2x, or y equals 9 divided by 6 times x. All right, and that's what that means by writing equations. And yes, I know I could simplify these or divide them and get a decimal or a mixed number, but that's not what the reason for it is. I want to make sure that you see how you can write an equation. And then determine the constant of proportionality. Now I could do the division and explain what it means in that situation. So if I divide 3 divided by 2, I get 1.5. So the constant is really 3 divided by 2. That's the simplest form of that fraction, and it's the most exact form. You could write 1.5, but let's keep it as a fraction if we're working with fractions. And I could also write 1.5 here. So what this means is that Andrea can draw 3 portraits in 2 hours, or can complete 1.5 portraits in 1 hour. Okay, and why it might be helpful in the future when you have a constant of proportionality to leave it as a fraction, and sometimes it might be helpful if you write it as a mixed number or a decimal. So you'll see as we start to get to other examples on that. All right, so today your lesson summary is on the back. If a proportional relationship is described by the set of ordered pairs that satisfies the equation y equals kx, where k is a positive constant, then k is called the constant of proportionality. A constant of proportionality expresses the multiplicative relationship between each x value and its corresponding y value. I think this was the same. So that's still the important part about this, the equation. All right, guys, go do your homework. Bye.